Hey everyone, Gary here from Echidna Sewing, and today we're going through the unboxing of the Halo X 10 needle embroidery machine. So this is how the product will arrive. It is beautifully crated in this very solid crate, so you know it ships well and will get to where it's got to go in great condition. The machine is inside along with the stand and some of the accessories that come standard with the machine. It is quite heavy, so obviously you're probably going to want to unbox this out in the garage or somewhere in the open and then move the machine inside. But for the purpose of this video, I'm in our video room. Now, you'll notice that there's all these clips around on the various parts here, and they come off really easily, and that basically holds the whole cabinet or the whole crate together. As I said, this is a really high quality crate. You might want to flat pack it and keep it for future use. You may have some use for it because it is a great piece of equipment. And the first thing we're going to do is remove these silver clips. And a little bit of caution with this because they are kind of under tension on the crate itself. You will need a fairly decent sized screwdriver to remove them, and you will need to make sure and be aware that when you unclip them, they will want to spring off a little bit. So it's a good idea to not have anyone standing around when you're doing this. And the first thing we're going to do is start with this clip here, and you'll notice that there is kind of a little slot on the side there, and you can get the screwdriver underneath it. And all you need to do is, with holding your fingers on top here so the clip won't go everywhere or fall out on the ground or spring away from you, just put the screwdriver in and just gently prise that up, and it will lift off nice and easy like that. I'm going to do another one over here, and we just clip that off. Now we start with all the clips on the top, and we remove the top piece of board first. So let me go through and take the rest of these off. So there we are, the top ones are all off. We're going to put them away nice and safe, because if you do want to reassemble this crate for any reason, and it's very easy to reassemble, you'll need those clips. I'm just going to move them out the way. And now you'll see that I can simply lift the top of the crate straight off. It's like a jigsaw. There's little sections here that clip in all over the place. It's a great product and really easy to work with. So I'm just going to pop that out the way. And now we'll have a look at what's inside. Okay, so what I can see now is the machine is already assembled right here. It's got some plastic over it just to keep it nice and dry. Not that I expect it would get wet in any way, but the stand is on this side. So this is the metal stand that you will need to assemble, and we have another video showing you how to do that. And there's also a couple of boxes down there. First box, and we can take that out, is all the legs and the wheels and the feet for the stand. It's a fair bit of weight in that, so I'm just going to move that out the way. Now the other couple of boxes in there, which I'll grab, is the bobbin winder unit, so we'll pop that out the way. And the tool kit, the accessory kit, everything you need for maintaining using the machine. And then under that, the rest of the stand is in here. I can take that out actually. There's various parts to the stand. That's the shelf piece there. We'll pop that over out the way. And then one leg. And the second leg of the stand. And then right at the bottom are a couple of the braces for the stand. So that's everything. The machine is still in there, and now all we need to do is take the sides off. So taking the sides off is the same as taking the top off. The clips are much the same. Choose any side to start with. I'm going to start over here, and again we've got these clips here. You just put the screwdriver in, twist it around, and off it comes. So just again, be careful. You don't want it to fly off. And as you take these sides off, it will just start to dismantle by itself. So just come down here. Really quite simple. So as you can see, that one is now just ready to come off. So I'll just remove that, pop that back here. Come around this side. I might take the front panel off now. Down the bottom here. So that's the front panel, and it will now just lift off. Pop that out the way. And now you can see the machine is obviously exposed there. This centerpiece will also just lift out now. And then we can take the side off. Now be mindful, when you start pulling this apart, it will kind of just want to fall on its own volition. So just be mindful of that. You might want someone to help you hold this. But I'll take this side bit off first. A little bit more pressure there. That's one, it's done. And the back bit is, actually the bottom clips are still on, so it's still quite stable actually. So we'll take those out. So there we go. All clips are off now. And there it is. So the machine is just sitting on the base of the pallet. The machine is actually bolted into the base. So next, I'm going to show you how to undo those bolts, and that will free the machine to be lifted up and set wherever you need it. Of course, first you would want to assemble the stand. So make sure you watch that video on how to assemble the stand. Put it together before you bother getting the machine off. It's probably a good idea. So there are two bolts holding the machine in position. There's one here on the front left side of the machine, and it's a 14mm bolt, so you need the 14mm spanner, and all you need to do is just loosen that off. So kind of got to go in a bit blind, but it's not too hard to find. In fact, I'll come in from this side so I can stay out of the way of the camera. Oops, helps if I use the 14mm side. There it is. So just undo that a couple of times, and then that bolt will just simply screw out. And we do keep these bolts because they may be needed. So once you undo that, it's quite a long bolt. There we go. Now we'll go and do the other one. So the one at the back right of the machine is a little bit harder to get to, but it's the same size. So just get your 14mm spanner, just locate that bolt and just loosen that off. Couple of turns and then you'll be able to do it by hand quite easily. There we go. And now it's just a case of unscrewing that all the way. There we go. So both bolts are out now. There are no others. That's the only two. And that's as easy as it is. So the machine is all but assembled at this stage. There's a couple of little things to do once we have it on the stand, but you can certainly now remove the protective plastic coating or cover. And what you will find then when you remove that is the standard hoops that come with the machine will be under here. There's a bit of paraphernalia there, a couple of instruction guides, user guides. But there are 5 hoops that come with the machine, so we'll just quickly mention those for you. We've got the 360 by 240 hoop, standard. Just pop that out the way. The 240 by 240 hoop, and that's embroidery area too, by the way. So quite accommodating. And then there's the 3 standard hoops. So we've got embroidery area. I think we've got a 90, a 120 and a 170. So there's 3 round frames as standard with the machine. As I mentioned, some little instruction guides here, which is quite handy, parts list, etc. There's one other component just here, and these are the embroidery arms, the arms that actually hold the frames. And we'll show you how to actually install those on our getting started video. That's it. So we'll take a look at assembling the machine stand itself now, and we'll also have that as a separate video to see by itself. But I'll do that now as part of this video as well. I'm going to move the machine now, get someone to come and help me, but before I do, I'll just point out that on the machine there are lift points, and the machine weighs about 40 kilograms, but there are grab handles under the side of the machine, 2 handles each side. I strongly recommend that you have someone help you lift the machine. At 40 kilograms, it is more than a 1-person lift, absolutely. It's a 2-person lift. It's quite easy to lift with 2 people, but do make sure you use the grab handles on each side. I'm just going to get someone to give me a hand to move this, and then we'll assemble the stand. So assembly for the stand for the Halo X is really simple. In the accessories installation manual that comes with the machine, towards the back of that in section 4, there is a how to install the steel stand. So it's all laid out there. It's very simple. I've opened everything up here that came in the crate with the machine. We've got the 2 legs, we've got the bottom tray, we've got the 2 support bars. We've got the little cushions that the machine sits on, or the little feet. And we've got 3 bags of screws and nuts and bolts. And we've got the 4 wheels, all with locking legs on them as well. I've gone ahead into the toolkit that came with the machine. I've got my Allen keys out, as well as the 10 and 8 mil open end spanner, and my Phillips head screwdriver. Now, of course, if you've got a drill with all those bits and pieces on the end of it, electric drill, you could use that as well. I'm going to use the bits that I've got here. So as per the installation guide for the stand, the first step is to pop all the legs, or the feet and the legs into place. You'll need your 5 mil Allen key, and grab one of those legs, and of course you'll want the bottom of the stand facing you, so upside down. Pop the leg there. Now you will find there's the Allen screw, one of the washers, in fact one of the split washers first, and then the washer, and start screwing that into each location. You'll need 16 of them, and just go through split washer, flat washer. Very solid stand. It's never going to fall apart if you do it properly. So I'll just go ahead and screw all those in. Of course, you do need to tighten them up quite firmly. Again, using the 5 mil Allen key. And we just tighten it up that way first. And then using the length of the Allen key to get some good strength in there and tighten it up nice and proper. I'll just get the 4 in first. It's a good idea to make sure you put all 4 screws in on each wheel first before you securely tighten it, so as that it's not out of alignment or anything like that. And make sure while you're doing this that you don't knock this over and let it fall on your feet or something, because they're quite heavy. It's a very heavy duty stand, and you don't want to be busting a toe. All right, so again, just nip the screw up using the vertical part of the Allen key, and then once you've got them nipped up nice and firmly, then position it horizontally to really tighten that up properly, so as it's not going to come loose. And it's nice and firm. If you've got a drill, of course, you could be using that with the appropriate bit. It's a bit quicker. And that's nice and firm. Now I will point out, while I've got this down, the little foot mechanism here can be wound in. That's designed to lock the machine into place. So while the machine's beautifully mobile and wheels around wonderfully, when it's in the right position, it's a good idea to extend this when it's up the right way, and then using the locking nut that's on there, lock it into position. But for now, I'm just going to screw that quite a fair way down so it doesn't impede the movement of the stand when I turn it up the right way. So I'll go ahead and put the other 3 wheels on now. I'll be back in a moment. So there we go, all the wheels are in place, but before you go any further, just make sure that the locking feet, set the locking nut up fairly high on the foot there and screw the locking feet pretty much all the way down, well below the level of the wheel, because when we turn this up the right way and start to move it around, we don't want the locking feet to be touching the floor, so to speak. Now, next step, after we've got all those screws in place, is step 2. We're going to put the side braces on the unit. We're going to leave it set up with the feet facing upwards, as the instructions explain, and we're going to be using the long screws that are in the bag there. Let me grab one of those out, and they're a Phillips head screw, so you will need your Phillips head driver, and we will pop those into place. So these are the braces that we're dealing with, and I'm going to hopefully get the camera in the right position here. We're going to face the legs so as that. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Hopefully you can. Down at the bottom here, we've got the outer part of the stand here. That's the outside, that lip there, or that edge. And the legs need to face each other like that. And you'll see there's holes here, 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 and here. And there's a hole on the outside as well. And we're going to screw these screws all the way in. I'm going to use a split washer and a washer on this guy, and there's some reason for that, because these are really important in the bracing process. And the whole idea of a split washer is that the screws don't work themselves loose. We'll move the base out the way for a moment. You'll notice there is some holes on the brace as well, and I don't think it particularly matters which way they go. But according to this, the holes would be facing up and sitting like that. If the diagram is correct, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. So pop that screw through there, and just got to work it so as it comes through the other side. Keep it nice and straight if you can. There it is. And all I've got to do now is start that screw into the threaded hole of that bar. Nip it up, don't worry about tightening it all the way at this stage. And support this, don't let go of it because it will fall. I'll grab one of the other long screws that we need. Should have taken them out of the bag when I started. A split washer. Oops. And a flat washer. And we'll come around the other side. And again, supporting it so it doesn't fall. Put that screw through, and I'm just going to move this over. So you've just got to carefully line that up until the screw starts. Once we've got it started, just use your screwdriver and just gently nip that up. Don't tighten it all the way yet, but now that we've got the 2 started, we can actually put the back ones in as well. So again, large screw, split washer, then a flat washer. Take this one. I'm actually looking at this now and putting the, I'm going to put the holes facing down. I don't see there's any other need for them, and I think it's going to look better. But if there is another need for it, you can always change it. It's pretty simple. Again, nip that up. Grab the next screw and go the other side. go. And again, nip that up a little bit. Don't tighten it because we've got to put the base in as well. And if you wanted to though, I'm going to turn that around so as those holes are facing down, I can't see them. So that's step 2. Step 3 is putting the base in, so that's on the guide as well. Same screws. There's no more split washers and flat washers. Doesn't matter down the bottom here because we've now got the split washers in the most important parts, and all we're going to do is with the base, the flat surface facing down, because remember the table is upside down. And this is where you may want to get someone to help you, to be honest, because there's a bit of weight in this. Not too much of a challenge for me, but you might find it a bit heavy. Don't know. So you just got to hold that there while you get that started. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Everything lines up pretty well, so not going to be too much of a challenge. In fact, it's one of the easiest stands we've had to put together. And then you can just nip all these up now. In fact, at this point, you can really start to tighten them quite well. And again, if you've got a drill and a driver in your drill, it might be a little bit firmer than what we're doing here. Probably would recommend that. I've put the split washer and the washer on the sides here because I don't want these screws working loose at all. And that's the idea of a split washer, or a spring washer, some people call it, is to stop the screws from ever coming loose. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That stand is really, really sturdy. And now we're ready to tip the stand up the right way. These are pretty heavy, so my advice is you may want to enlist some help. Let's see how I go here. If you rock it over like that, and then just gently lift it around, there we go. Really, really sturdy stand. And now all that's left is to put the machine on it. So step 4, before we put the machine on it, will be to put the little positioning feet on the machine. These are the grey little feet that come in the plastic bag. And there's 4 screws in there. So the book does show you how that goes on, but it's easier to see it on a video. You've got on each point, you've got a screw hole for those little screws to screw down and lock this into place. But there's also these large holes here beside it. And that's to allow for a couple of bolts to go up through this and into the base of the machine, which actually locks the machine to the stand. So there's no tipping hazard. You really can't knock it over at all, which is kind of good. And in order to attach these, the screw goes through the center and into the screw hole. And so it needs to sit like this. So that hole there sits over the top of that hole there, and the center hole sits over the top of the screw hole. Take that into place. It can go either way, it doesn't really matter. And this will be your 4mm Allen key. So find the screw hole and nip that up. and do it so the hole, this hole, in other words that hole, you can see straight through it, through the hole on the actual stand itself. And just tighten that up nice and firm. Don't go overboard, you don't want to crack the plastic. It is just a plastic foot, which is all it needs to be. Same rule applies here. That's done. And that's done there. One more. So that's done. Now I'll get someone to give me a hand to lift the machine up and put it on the stand. Okay, so lifting the machine, it's definitely not a one-person lift, so definitely need help to put it on here and position it. And I've got my trusty general manager here, Eric, he's going to give me a hand. So we lift the machine, lift with your knees of course, and if you can see there, we're positioning the feet into the plastic feet here, but there is a little tiny hole or hollow in the bottom of these feet, and it sits over where we've mounted those screws. It only goes one way. You can't really do it wrong. Have a look around, make sure it's all seated properly, which that is. And now all we need to do is put the locking bolts in. So we do have these two locking bolts to hold the head of the machine onto the stand. I do recommend using them. I mean, the machine's not going to fall, but it just does lock it in. So if you're moving the machine around, it's less likely that you could possibly tip over or anything like that. You will find there's two of these bolts that came with the machine. They're a 6mm Allen socket on the end, and there's a nylon washer that came in with that. So pop the washer on first, and then underneath the machine, just right here, there's that hole that we talked about when we were putting these feet in position, and the bolt goes up through there. And you'll also note that you did get some locking nuts that came with these two bolts. So once you put the bolt up through here, just screw that locking nut on the screw just a little way down, and then you will find underneath there is a threaded hole for that bolt to lock into. And using your 6mm Allen key, screw that bolt up so it's nice and firm, doesn't need to be overly tight. And then you can take the locking nut and actually lock that up against the casting of the machine. So in your kit there is the 14mm spanner, and we just use that spanner to just gently lock that nut into place. It doesn't need to be anything super tight, you just got to position it so as it is locked. And that way that this bolt can't ever come out and the machine is securely fastened to the stand. And we do the same thing on the opposite corner. So same bolt, same little washer, same nut, and the 6mm Allen key. Come around this side. Same rules apply. Whoops, put my nut on there. And then just nip that into the corresponding hole. Use your 6mm Allen wrench to tighten that, and then slide or screw the nut up using the 14mm spanner. Just gently nip that up, and now that's it. And there we have it. The stand is assembled. The machine is firmly attached to it. It's nice and mobile. You can roll that around nice and easily. All that's left to do is remove the cover that protects the screen. That can be slid around like so. You can lock that in and position it where you want it. Just a little tip. Make sure that the emergency stop button has not been pressed in before you go to the getting started video. But that's it, there's no other assembly required. Virtually that's how simple it is to get this machine ready to go. So I hope that was informative, and hope you enjoy your new machine. Cheers.